So the Muslims don't pay jizya.
They pay zakat.
Excuse me, sir. Please listen.
Hello, it's a different category.
Okay, let me ask
Just like in the UK. No, wait, stop.
In the UK,
Stop.
in the
Why
UK,
cut me off? Why
I
cut me
pay income tax.
No.
Is there any special category of taxes for the Muslims?
Yes. No. In the UK, there's people. There's, for example, income tax, and then there's also VAT.
Listen to me again.
No.
In
no,
the
no,
UK,
look, no,
is
why
there
cut me
any
off? Why cut me
special
off?
category of taxes
Why cut
for
me
the
off?
Muslims?
There is no religious distinction in the UK.
Good.
Right.
Note that carefully. Whereas,
So what?
what does your Quran say? In the Quran, in
Yeah.
an Islamic caliphate,
Yeah.
is there a religious distinction?
Yeah, absolutely there is.
Good. In other words, Islamic caliphate doesn't give as much freedom as you have been given here as a Muslim, which is lovely.
Just like
One
non-citizens.
second.
Just like non-citizens of a secular country don't get as many rights as citizens. British citizens have more rights than non-citizens.
So let me ask you this.
It's exactly the same.
This is utter nonsense. You're just listen to me.
What are you talking about?
In an Islamic state, okay. Who owned Israel originally? We'll keep it simple. Yeah. If Islam were to come here, how would suddenly I become a non-citizen? If Islam were to come here, how would I suddenly become a non-citizen? The guy tries every trick under the sun. Can you imagine? Can you believe what was going on? He initially tried, because we paid taxes. And then when I pointed out to the fact that, well, there is no religious distinction when it comes to taxes in the UK, now he goes on to citizenship-based distinction. If the caliphate were to come to the UK, how do suddenly Muslims become citizens and non-Muslims becoming citizens?
Excuse me, you should be fair. What he said is that there's jizya for non-Muslims and zakat for Muslims.
Yeah.
So both pay taxes. Just like you have non-dom paid taxpayers here and domiciled taxpayers.
Let me. Are you Muslim, sir?
No, it doesn't matter what a Muslim.
Okay, that's fine. Let me ask you very simply.
Now you're gonna
If I
put that
let me
friend of him now.
no, listen. Please listen to me. This is very important.
I said it doesn't matter what a Muslim. I did not say I'm not.
You're a Muslim and you're his worst enemy.
What I'm going to say right now is very important. Very important.
It's Muslim. He doesn't-
What are obvious
doesn't preach.
differences?
Sorry?
What are obvious differences? What are obvious reasonable differences for us to pursue that? Completely okay. For example, someone can be a citizen, someone cannot be a citizen, an alien who comes in. And that distinction, straightforward, reasonable. For example, I might belong to some other nation who might just be visiting the UK, for example. But here, when I'm talking about Islamic State, that is not the distinction made. For example, you might be a citizen today, but if Islam comes here, tomorrow, suddenly you will have to pay the non-Muslims tax. That is not reasonable, is my point.
Can we have a dialogue?
No, but this is
No.
my point.
You cannot preach. Let's have a dialogue if you want to have something intelligent to discuss. if this became a Muslim caliphate today,
God, man.
it means that this would be a religious state.
Wallahi,
You
look
agree?
at him. He's talking to him.
So if it's a religious state, you cannot be a member of a religious state without belonging to that
Should I
religion.
tell him don't listen?
So in effect, you are no longer a citizen, and you will not be treated as a citizen, and you will not be judged under
he's
Sharia
white.
law
He's white
if you're not a
himself.
citizen.
So-
So as a Christian, you should not be judged.
In
under
other words,
Sharia law.
Wallahi, he's-
foreigners come, take over, and behave like citizens. Wait a second, that is the exact point. Clearly, we don't have Sharia today.
They treat
Yeah.
you.
Excuse me.
When you
Clear-
go to
Just calm down. No, just calm down. Let's have dialogue.
Gentlemen wants
Let's have intelligent dialogue.
Intelligent. Clearly not for you. We can move on. Clearly not for you. We'll move on.
Let's not.
My point simply, sir, and this is where my point was, in comparison to today, that's why I began by asking you.
So income.
Remember the example I gave you today. If you are a citizen today, my point is tomorrow, if Islamic Caliphate somehow comes in, you will not only lose your own land, but you are also going to be treated as a slave in your own land. That is the problem I'm pointing out to.
Okay.
This is supposed to be a homeland.
No, can I address? One of the things that you are assuming is that if, let's say that the United Kingdom became a caliphate, that it would be something that is external, that is an invasion to take over. and
Clearly,
control.
the Caliphate doesn't belong here.
Wait.
let him to
Wait.
think.
Just now, Ray.
Give him some time to think.
Just one second.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Cool. Sorry,
No, no,
start
okay.
again, yeah.
No,
So we were
no, no, I was saying, if any, one thing, a lot of Muslims here actually are making a mistake. In Islam, you're not supposed to crusade and actually impose Islam on anyone.
This is junk. This is junk.
No, not in
Where
Islam.
do you get your idea from?
Tell me what.
Where do you get your idea
Can
from?
I ask you? Tell me where it says in the Quran that you should go and impose Islam and run crusades to get people to come to Islam.
So how did Islam?
No, I said tell me the Quran. That's the reference.
I'm answering.
Let's be Quranists, okay?
I'm answering.
Go.
I'm answering. Now, I want to do two things. Like, I want to look at history first. I want to look at history first.
Not history.
You don't care about- I'm talking about-
History is from human beings.
Okay.
But
Can I please?
Can I finish? The reference for religion, if I want to discuss Christianity with you, I'll use the Bible as a reference. If I want to discuss Islam with you, I'll use, guess what, the Quran as a reference. That is why I'm asking you.
Sure.
Tell me in the Quran, in fact in the Quran it says that before you become a Muslim, you should seek knowledge first.
Doesn't matter. You're talking about Mickey Mouse ideas. Doesn't matter. My point very simply is, your question very simply is, your point earlier was absolute junk. I couldn't believe that your point was that Islam was never commanded to leave and come here.
No, I did not say that.
Please repeat your
I
point.
did not say that.
So please repeat.
I said that when your assumption is that when you create a caliphate, it's something that is imposed externally. But a caliphate can actually be something that starts from the grassroots if enough of the population...
I'm not talking...
Can I finish? If enough of the population, just like a democracy, if enough of the population convert to Islam, then they could create a caliphate. They could actually declare that now we want to be a caliphate. So let's not confuse politics with religion here.
So if I read to you right now, that a caliphate is a worldwide caliphate is supposed to be established by physical force all over the world, what would you do? Would you leave Islam? Do you follow Islam?
No, it doesn't matter whether Muslim or not.
No, it doesn't matter.
No, it
I'd
doesn't.
like to understand what is your...
If you are making a point out of intellect, not emotion, it should not matter whether I'm Muslim, Christian, Jewish, or even atheist. It should not matter.
I'd like to understand your motivation, because that's fine.
No, the motivation
let's read.
is to have intelligent
Surah,
discussion.
which includes not being able to hide anything. I am standing
No,
here as a Christian.
no, it's not.
If you can't even tell you what your religious affiliation is,
Intelligent discussion doesn't need to
doesn't you think so?
There's no
But that's fine.
subjectivity.
Excuse me, I don't
There's
want
no
to
subjectivity.
I don't want to argue. I really don't want to argue
you're gonna
against
treat
your...
him differently.
Excuse me, sir.
You're gonna put
No, I've
racism
told
in
you
it.
multiple times. Not interested.
That's what you're gonna do.
Surah, I'm going to read. I'm going to read to you right now.
You little cunt.
I'm going to read to you right now a couple of verses, which hopefully you would take seriously. Surah 8. Little one, sorry. Apologies. I should, in front of your girl, I should be careful. I should treat you kindly, really, because I'm in a robust conversation, but in front of it. Okay, that's fine. I have a younger one. I have a younger one than that. But cool. Surah 8. Surah 8, ayahs 38 and 39.
Yeah.
Tell those, Surah 8, ayahs 38 and 39. Tell those who disbelieve that if they cease, that which is past will be forgiven them. But if they return, then the example of the men of old has already gone. 38, Surah 8, ayah 38. Now ayah 39. Oh, let's see. And fight them. Ayat. And fight them until persecution is no more and religion is all for Allah.
Repeat again.
Fight them until persecution is no more and religion is all for Allah.
Exactly.
So let's focus on all the details there. Fight them,
Yes.
fighting physical violence, fighting physical violence.
Yes.
Until persecution is no more and religion is all for Allah.
Exactly.
So I know you'd like to focus on the persecution. We'll come to that in a little bit.
Okay, go on.
But fight them until, if I were to skip the persecution part alone, I'll return to that in a minute.
Okay.
fight them until religion is all for Allah.
Yeah.
So very simply, Muslims have been commanded to fight.
No. You are misreading. Read it again properly. You are making selective understanding. It says, and fight them until persecution is no more. Do you know what? And religion is all for Allah.
Yeah.
Do you know the context of this?
Yeah, excuse me, I know the context. I've read. Don't worry.
Okay.
Please let's read. Now, please let's read the verse first, and then if you want to expand on the context, you're most welcome
Okay,
to do.
go on then.
But let's do that later.
The highlight and
But
leaving the rest.
more, you can try your luck.
No, read it.
Try your luck, sir.
No, read it.
Good luck to you. I'll give you all the time you need. You can try your luck later. But now, coming to you, sir. Fight them until persecution is no more and religion is all for Allah. I'll come to the persecution part in a minute. But until religion is all for Allah. In other words, Muslims have been given a mandate to fight until religion is all for Allah. So tell me.
You are misreading that.
So how would you like to read this?
They were being persecuted. If you remember, Muslims were being persecuted.
Who were,
So,
sorry, if you remember from where?
no, in the times, if you actually look at the whole history of Islam, when you had the revelations with angel Gabriel or Jibril, there were a lot of people who were fighting Islam and who were persecuting Muslims, who did not want Islam to be a popular religion, for people to make their own free choices whether they follow Islam or not. And therefore, the Muslims were persecuted for their faith.
So let me ask you this. Give me one evidence for claiming that Muslims, one historically valid evidence to claim that Muslims were persecuted by non-Muslims.
When you say
At the time of the
historical, when you say historical, do you mean by the Quran? Do you know when
You can show the Quran if you want. Show me one.
No.
Show me from
Let's
the
go.
Quran. Show me from the Quran.
No. Let me ask you a question. Are you telling me that when the Muhammad had to move from place to place with the Qurayshis persecuting him, that was not about Islam? It was just about him actually traveling and trying to spread Islam.
So here is where I know you have been told a lot of stories. Muhammad,
I've not.
Please listen.
No, but you don't know. You can't say you know when you don't know.
No, I haven't spoken. Please listen.
You said, I know you've been told a lot of
Please-
stories.
please-
You don't know
please-
that.
Please listen. Please
Go on.
listen.
Yeah.
You've given me a part of the story already.
No, but I'm saying that
Please listen.
don't
Please listen.
assume.
Please
We
listen.
said I have been told.
Please
I
listen.
know you've been told.
Please
That's
listen.
not right.
Please
Go on.
listen. Okay. Maybe I'll rephrase. I know that there is plenty of Mickey Mouse ideas, fantasy ideas, fictional ideas of who Muhammad is, what happened to him, what happened to early Muslims, how Islam spread at the start, all those sorts of stuff. I know there are plenty of fictional ideas. I'm not into fictional ideas.
Just same as Jesus.
And no. I'm not into fictional ideas. I want history. And that is where my question to you is, what is the evidence? Clearly, you will claim, you're going to claim that Muslims were persecuted. And my question is, what is the evidence that at the origin of Islam, Muslims were persecuted? What's the evidence?
Are you talking about historical evidence?
Yeah.
What I'm trying to tell you is that whether you look at Christianity or Islam,
So
wait,
focus on-
can I
focus
finish?
on the persecution of Muslims.
Can I finish? Whether you're talking about Christianity or Islam, there is no historical evidence.
Excuse me, don't bring in
Can
Christianity.
I finish? Can I finish?
But don't
Can-
bring in
can-
Christianity.
Can I
Why
speak?
do you want to bring in?
Can I speak?
Okay, go on.
You see, that's the problem
Go
with
on, go
emotions.
on.
That's the
Go on.
problem with emotions.
Go on.
Even if you look at Christianity and Islam, the Bible and the Quran, they are not. There is no evidence that can actually indisputably say that both texts are historically and factually accurate. It's about belief. You get to a stage where it's about faith, that you believe. You cannot say that I've got scientific evidence that can trail everything that is specified regarding the history of Jesus Christ or the history of Muhammad. So when you start talking about fact, historical evidence, then we include Kukulan, because if my grandmother had appeared, she would be my grandfather. That's the kind of thing that we're talking about here. It's not really practical.
I completely understand that if you're only familiar with Islam in detail, you would completely come to the conclusion that Islam as a religion does not have evidence. I completely understand.
What
I haven't finished.
if I understand?
I
Paul?
haven't finished. I haven't finished.
Go on.
And so I completely understand. That is your view, possibly, that without evidence.
Don't assume.
I haven't finished. I haven't finished.
Nobody assume. If you say
I
that's
haven't finished.
your view,
I haven't finished.
don't assume.
I haven't finished. I haven't finished. I heard your point earlier. Now you need to. This is the problem with emotions. You need to now. You need to do the same because you were trying to point out to that earlier. The point very simply is. I completely understand. With Islam, there is no evidence. I completely understand. You will come up with all sorts of cock and bull stories. This is what happened to Muhammad. That happened to Muhammad. People are upset. All sorts of cock and bull stories. I completely understand. But don't even dare to mention that point with Christianity. For Jesus Christ, for the origin of Christianity, for the fundamental building blocks of Christianity, I can give rock solid historical commentary, not just from Christians from the first century, but also from non-Christians from the first century. Non-Christian Romans, non-Christian Greeks, non-Christian Jewish sources for the fundamental building blocks of Christianity from the first century, not just Christian. My point is, if I challenge you to use any resource, including the Quran, you can use the Quran if you wanted to, but if you try to build a case that Muslims were persecuted, you will fail miserably. That is my point. You know what Quran calls as persecution? Do you know what it calls as persecution?
Basically, it's not being allowed to follow their faith.
Exactly. So this is not essentially, not just that. Not just that. Quran explicitly goes on to say, even if I come and reason with you, it's oppression already. That's what the Quran claims.
Because in Islam that is not allowed.
Exactly. In other words, you know what the Muslims, early Muslims, according to the Quran, according to examples, according to evidence, you know what Muslims began calling as oppression and persecution? Very simply that people didn't choose to follow Islam and they came up with coherent, meaningful arguments. They didn't even like that, and that they consider as persecution. As a matter of fact, if you were to go through this entire Quran, and this is why I'm going to come back, I completely understand. In Islam, even reasoning is persecution. Reasoning against religion is persecution. Can you assert that Muslims were proactively, physically, violently hurt by any non-Muslim through any historical resource?
You made a mistake. First, I need to correct something. You said that there is historical factual evidence of Jesus Christ. That is not true. And also when you talk about the Bible, in fact, I'll advise you to actually read the books in the Bible, the research on the books in the Bible, whether they're complete, and you compare them with what happened in the books that you find in Lalabella, you find in the churches in Ethiopia today. Because the Ethiopian Orthodox Church has got a history that goes all the way. Even the images of Jesus Christ that you have, that are in Ethiopia, they've been kept, there are people who actually are custodians of that. What was revealed in Russia matched that, not the Bible that you read. If I ask even the Bible that are being used today, I'm not going to say that the Quran is authentic or anything either. I'm going to say, that's why I say that there's a lot of faith in both Islam and Christianity.
No, this is junk.
No, let me finish.
No. You didn't give any meat.
No, you are emoting now. You are emoting. You are emoting. Listen as well. Don't become emotional. Don't become emotional. Don't become emotional. Let me finish. Let me finish. Don't become emotional. Let me finish. Don't become emotional. Let me finish.
Can we focus on Surah 839?
Don't become emotional. Let me finish.
Surah 839.
Don't become emotional. Let me finish. Both Christianity and Islam.
Surah 839. Persecution. Do you have evidence or not?
Can I finish?
No, but you need to give evidence for persecution.
Can I finish?
Do you have evidence that Muslims were persecuted by non-Muslims?
Can I finish?
But can you please give me a quick answer and then expand?
No.
Do you have any evidence for Muslims being persecuted by non-Muslims at the origin of Islam?
Can I finish?
You can, but give me a quick answer so I know you're going to get there.
No, but you cannot tell me how to answer when you actually are free to answer the way you want it.
So, but let's focus on the persecution part. The persecution is where we began. I don't want to go wander away all over the place. Persecution, you claim Muslims were persecuted because I'm focused on the very important aspect that Muslims have been commanded to fight.
Can you use a bit?
Fight until.
Let me see.
Yes, please. Maybe you can stop and start here. You can stop and start here. This one. Stop here. Yeah, well, yeah, now sorry. Sorry.
I'm going to find the I was talking about the Qurayshi. I find exactly what they did so that we get the actual actions.
I need the evidence.
That's what I'm. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that when you actually read the older faiths, they talk as if they're historical factual books. So you can only find the evidence within the scriptures of that religion.
Absolutely. Please find out any historically tenable resource. Any resource that you want to establish as historically tenable, I'm happy with.
Okay, if you look at this, I was talking. This is about the Qurayshi. As the influence of Islam spread among the clans, the Meccans became hostile to Muhammad's message. Islam represented a challenge to the. It was the polytheistic religions actually, not here monopoly of religion. It was become because Muhammad came with the concept of a unique God.
But that's just a claim. I'm asking for evidence.
How would you find evidence?
You tell me.
What I'm saying is that both the Bible.
Don't go to the Bible.
No, it's Gothic. Well, you cannot take it out of context.
Excuse me, no. The context for Islam is not the Bible.
No,
So I'm
it is
asking
the
you very
same.
simply.
If I ask
You are giving me a story. I like the story. It's quite fancy. I'm trying to
Just
find out
like the
what
story
the
of
evidence
Immaculate
is.
Conception.
And this is just.
No, but what I'm
Do
saying.
you have evidence or not? Please.
No.
Please. Do you have evidence for persecution? of Muslims?
Who else would actually provide evidence of that period other than the people that
Well,
are
not Wikipedia. What is that? I don't know what that is. No, historical resources. Some
No,
sort
I'm
of,
saying that-
For example, you can use the Quran if you want to. Please use the Quran if you want to.
I will not actually be able to find the ayah.
It's not in the
right now.
Quran. Okay, that's
No, I can. Okay.
Yeah,
that's-
evidence. When you put together
Sorry.
the details of the Quran, please explain to me how we can come to the conclusion that Muslims were proactively persecuted by non-Muslims, physically violence by non-Muslims.
No. Persecution. It doesn't have to resort to physical violence.
Some level of persecution, whatever
Yes,
you
just
call as persecution. Please tell me.
But we have plans.
Sorry.
I thought we had plans. And you were questioning me.
This is in the this would be in the hadith, not in the Quran. I would have to find.
I can give you some insight if you like. I've gone through the Quran multiple times. I can give you some insight if you like.
Cool mummy. Cool mummy.
Why?
Ask a friend.
Yeah.
I cannot find it
Because
right
he
now,
has
but I
the
can find somebody.
Quran.
No problem. I can tell you. I can tell you very. So I've gone through the Quran multiple times, and I've prepared extensive notes, and I'm even writing a book on how Islam began according to the Quran. Plenty of historical details actually hidden here, and what I can tell you very honestly is that clearly Muslims who have contributed to the text here clearly claims that Muslims were persecuted, clearly oppressed, persecuted, but if you actually carefully get to the details of what was happening, very simply, it was people trying to reason them out of Islam that they considered to be persecution and
There
oppression.
was hostile action and the ostracization and in the community, those are also actually.
Please.
By the way, can I
Let me finish my
no,
previous
no,
point.
okay.
My point very simply is, I know you'd like to assert a few more things. My point is, please don't assert anything unless you can provide evidence. Evidence is king. Otherwise, you have been quite good so far. You have been trying to be reasonable so far, but that is where I want to take it to the logical conclusion. Without evidence, an idea is a fiction. And my point simply is, you can go through the entire Quran. Muslims weren't persecuted. The Quran does say that Muslims were oppressed and persecuted. And that is only, when you go through the details, only because people were trying to reason them out. And the Muslims didn't like it. Beyond this, there was nothing which we would normally call persecution.
Can I ask you a question? No, but you're preaching now. You're going on and on. But
I'll just finish this.
Give me a chance to respond to that.
Absolutely. Just finish this and then you can, just 10 seconds. And so my point is very simply, when it says fight them until persecution is no more, they are purely saying fight them until no one tries to reason you out of Islam and religion is all for Allah. That is all that it means.
Okay. Can I ask you a question?
And so my point would be fight them
now it's going,
until religion is all for Allah. Please go on.
Session.
Please go on.
What is your understanding of the relationship between the Quran and the Hadiths?
The Hadiths is just fantasy fictional ideas from a
in terms of Islamic belief. What is your understanding of what
Islamic
how Muslims
belief doesn't matter.
I'm saying it doesn't matter.
You're asking me what is my okay? So if your question,
what is your understanding in a Muslim context, Islamic context? What is the relationship between the Hadiths and the Quran?
So let me answer, but I'm going to give two answers. Yeah, please. I need to provide clarity here. I genuinely understand that different kinds of Muslims, unless they are Quran only Muslims, different kinds of Muslims think that hadiths in their various forms, various books, Sunni, Shia, canonical, non-canonical, they think that a portion of that, believe that a portion of that is historical. They represent what really happened centuries before, even though the literature were written down centuries later. That's what they believe. I completely understand. But in my careful analysis, it doesn't. The claims, the beliefs are merely fantasy beliefs. They don't have credibility for various different reasons. One of them is, very importantly, even the Quran denies plenty of the claims of the hadiths. All the building blocks of Islam, the Quran denies. Muhammad, Quraysh, and Arab, pagan Meccan Arabs, all sorts of stuff. The Quran actually denies when you go through the details. And that is what, one of the points is what I was trying to use as an example. The Quran does record oppression of Muslims, persecution of Muslims in multiple places. It does record. Every single time, if you go and read through it carefully, you would either find that essentially Muslims proactively attacked others and others were responding, either that or non-Muslims were simply trying to reason Muslims out of Islam. This is what is called in the multiple places in the Quran. And so the Quran itself stands against this idea that non-Muslims proactively attack the Muslims. So I consider hadiths to be complete myths, fictional stories.
So in your understanding, Muslims should only believe in the Quran, they do not believe in the Hadith? Or are you saying that Muslims believe in both the Quran and the Hadith in some shape or form?
I genuinely think Muslims should cease being Muslims because
no. I'm not talking about whether they should. I'm talking about your understanding of Muslims and the Islamic religion. Do you understand that Muslims should only believe in the Quran, the Hadith are totally out of question? Or do you believe that Muslims have to believe both the Quran and the Hadith?
Well, let me put it
according
this
to
way.
their faith.
Muslims can choose to believe in Harry Potter story. Who cares? I'm talking
about your understanding of the faith. No.
Remember at the start you said intellectual conversation.
Yeah, but the thing is that
I'm talking about intellectual conversation.
You're being facetious now. What I was asking is that you, for instance, if you ask me, what are the foundations of the Christian belief? I'll tell you that the foundations of the Christian belief are embodied in the Bible.
That's not the point.
No,
the point is...
Can I finish?
But you need to get back to an intellectual conversation.
You're becoming fanatic. The problem that I have here with engaging people that are fanatical is that it's very difficult to reason.
You know what fanatical behavior is? When something has been established as a myth, to still hold on to that fanatical behavior. So I'm simply suggesting
That's what I'm
that
saying.
later day.
No, but the way you are responding, I'm sorry to say, is you're emoting. I asked you a simple question. Wait, see exactly that.
Persecution.
You see exactly that.
You couldn't show evidence. You couldn't show
But
evidence
the thing
for
is that
persecution. What are you
it's
planning to
very
do about
difficult to engage
I know.
if you cannot listen
I
and hear.
listen to you all the time.
How can you listen and talk at the same time?
Look, I'm asking you.
No, but
without evidence, would you like to believe in something?
wait. How can you listen and talk at the same time?
I listen to you one more
No,
time.
you don't.
And then I'll
No,
come
you
back
don't.
to my previous
You
point.
do not.
Please go on.
What are the foundations of the Christian belief? It's the Bible. Do you agree with me that the Bible is the scripture which forms the foundation of the Christian belief?
Okay. Let me.
No. I'll ask you a simple question. It's a yes or no.
I know you asked question, but you completely avoided the previous discussion altogether. So I'd like to make sure we are doing justice to the conversation we were trying to have.
No, let's establish that
Please,
first.
please listen to me carefully.
Let's establish.
Would you
because
like to
it
have
goes
an intellectual
back-
conversation?
No. You
Or
see-
would you like to have a
No, you are
religiously
railroading.
indoctrinated conversation?
No,
What would you like to have?
No, you are
You
the
tell me,
one.
please.
You're the one who's going off course.
Would you like a religious conversation or an
No,
intellectual conversation?
I would like an intelligent discussion.
Intelligent
And then
discussion
an intelligent discussion
is
means
where
an
we
intelligent-
appreciate when there is no evidence
You
for
cannot
something.
talk and listen at the same time.
I know, and this is where you need to
No,
listen
but
right
you
now.
are
And
doing
this
it.
is where you need
You
to
are
listen
doing it
right
again.
now. My point very simply is.
No, you are doing it again.
My point.
No, listen first.
You need
No, listen
I
first.
listened to you
No,
earlier.
listen. No, you
I
did not.
listened to you
You did not.
earlier.
You did not.
No, my
You
point.
did not.
Now, my point.
No,
very
you did not. Listen
Would
first.
you like to have
no,
an
listen
intelligent
first.
conversation?
Listen first. You see, the volume of your words does not imbue power and veracity in the words.
Now, can we get back to the
No.
conversation?
No.
at hand? Instead of, excuse me. Instead of the- Can we get back to the conversation at hand?
No.
Evidence
No.
What are you planning to do?
No. First, we have to have an intelligent discussion, which means that you have to hear me and I've got to hear you.
And you need to stick to the topic.
No.
You need to stick to the topic.
No.
You need to stick to the topic.
No. I asked you a simple question. I said, your understanding of Islamic faith, are the scriptures that form the foundation of the Islamic faith the Quran and the Hadith, or none of the two, or one of the two? I asked you that simple question.
Very good. Let me answer you in the broader context of us trying to have an intelligent conversation. If you would like to be intelligent, which is what I'd like for you to be, I would like to comment to you that you follow whatever religion, but only based on evidence, not based on later day myths. And so you tell me, if there is no evidence for persecution of Muslims, the Muslims of the origin of Islam, by non-Muslims, if you want to be intelligent, not just in our conversation right now, but also generally in life, would you ever want to go around thinking that Muslims were persecuted when there is no evidence whatsoever?
Can you answer my question now?
I know, you're now struggling right now. Please, you
No.
need to focus.
Can you answer my question first?
Emotions, we need to keep aside.
No, he hasn't answered my question.
Emotions, we need to keep aside.
Answer my question and then
Please,
answer your
now,
question.
you need
Answer my question and then.
You need to keep emotions away.
I said, answer my question and then answer your question.
Now you're being a little bit like a child, please. You
No.
need to focus like an adult. We
No.
moved on. We started where we were reading 839.
Answer my
you
question.
claimed there was a persecution. I asked you if there is evidence. When you struggle to
And
provide
I'm
evidence,
leading
you're
to
now
that.
talking about...
I'm leading to that.
No, we are not leading to anything. We want to get back to the conversation at hand. If
Can you answer my question first?
Let me ask you this.
It's a simple question.
Give you one
It's a
last
yes or
chance.
no.
I'll give you one last chance
No.
and then I'll move away. Do you have any evidence?
No.
Do you have any evidence that early Muslims were persecuted by non-Muslims? Any evidence whatsoever?
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that you want to come as this as engaging in an academic or world research.
Do you have any evidence whatsoever?
You see, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Exactly.
The thing is that if you do not know the premise of Islam, but you want to argue the
matter.
veracity.
Look,
No, you can't discuss Islam if you don't actually know the basics.
I'll remind you something.
You can't.
One second.
You can't.
1 second. Please listen to me 1 second. Did you earlier remember that there was a great gentleman who was standing here who made a marvelous statement saying, to examine the veracity of this religion, I don't even have to know your religion. Do you remember that?
Maybe I wasn't here, I can't remember.
You are the gentleman who told me that you don't even have to tell me what religion you follow while we are trying to discuss
No,
facts.
that's not the that's
Hey,
not
weren't
about
you- weren't you that one?
no. You
Now
said
you're struggling. Please,
No.
let me put it this way.
Can I answer?
Look, please.
Quiet. Let me
Well,
speak.
No.
Let me speak.
I was trying to make a rhetorical point.
I said this. You asked me what is my religion.
Yeah.
I said to engage in any intelligent discussion or
Exactly.
examine the veracity of a religion. You do not have to know what
Exactly.
religion I follow.
Completely. That's
My
fine.
religious faith has nothing to do with the veracity of anything.
Good. Stick to the same argument.
Yes.
Your religious faith
Yes.
or the religious faith of any number of Muslims.
Of anyone,
I'm
not Muslims.
speaking right now. Please stay quiet. Of any number of Muslims is irrelevant when we are trying to have an intelligent conversation about what really happened. Because for what really happened, I don't care what Mickey Mouse stories you or anyone else believes in. And that is where my point to you is very simply, I'm going to return to what I was talking about earlier. Do you have any evidence whatsoever? I completely understand when going through the Quran, there is plenty of evidence that Muslims, as recorded in the Quran, were shedding crocodile tears. I completely understand. When non-Muslims were trying to reason them out of Islam, they said, oh, we are being persecuted. Oh, so people are oppressing us. I completely understand. That was happening, which is not what we would call persecution. We would call that reasoning. I'm going to ask you, beyond this, do you have any evidence, any credible evidence that early Muslims were persecuted at the time of the origin of Islam at the hands of non-Muslims? Do you have any evidence at all?
The problem is that as much as you want to get answers to your questions as direct answers, you don't seem to have the capacity to be engaged honestly and also respond to questions that are posed to you. I asked you a simple question. I said, according to your understanding of Islam, is a Muslim supposed to believe in both the Quran and the Hadiths, or neither of them, or one of them? And you refuse to answer that question. Because if you answer that question, you'd find the answer to your question. Because the idea that everything about the Islamic faith you find in the Quran is misguided. The idea of the Hadiths is to add and supplement and explain things that may not be clearly understood in the Quran. When you talk about persecution, you would actually find that when they look at persecution, they're actually looking at persecution from not only, the Quran actually says that persecution, but in terms of the definition of persecution and what actually happened, you actually find those things in the supplementary Islamic scriptures, which are the hadiths. But you do not want to actually accept that because you know where I was going with that. So what I'm telling you is that you may choose to understand persecution in your own way because of your goal, what you want to prove. But if you actually read in the entirety of what the people who actually believe in that faith believe in as reference scriptures, you'd find that it's actually more than your definition of what persecution is.
In other words, you simply do not have any credible, valid historical artifacts to really suggest that Muslims, no emotions please, let me finish, that Muslims were persecuted by non-Muslims at the point of origin in the way we would understand persecution. You simply haven't got any evidence whatsoever. What you rather believe in are myths and fantasies and Mickey Mouse stories which were written down centuries later, and you're going to tell me that you want to believe in them, and that is your only basis. So thank you very much. I completely understand. I completely understand.
No, can I ask you a question?
I completely understand. I completely understand. Even though you began to want to have an intelligent conversation, clearly you are at a loss right now. No longer you want to have an intelligent conversation. Now you want to have a conversation based on myths and fantasies and your emotional belief statements, which I am not interested in. So I have to stop the conversation right now and simply say, Please, you just need
So-
to. Please, you just need to take where you started. That same mindset all the way, and really need to give up on fantasy ideas. Thank you very much.
Your own
Good to see you.
your
Thank you very
own
much.
faith.
I'm not interested in
Your own faith.
anything other than intelligent conversation.
If you actually,
not
if
interested.
you dismiss what Muslims believe in as their
But you
reference
wanted me to
scriptures-
dismiss that.
No, I did not. Say, I said.
You said I don't
Can,
need
can
to
I
know
finish?
what you
Can I finish?
No, I'm done. Thank you. You want me to
He is one of the serious fanatics.
You want me to take your mythical ideas seriously?
No, sorry, hadiths are mythical and the Quran is mythical. Yeah, hadiths are mythical to you.
Well, you tell me, do you know when the earliest of the hadiths were
No,
written
no,
down?
I'm saying that.
Do you know when the earliest of the hadiths were written down?
You can't answer a question.
Do you know when the earliest
The
of the
man
hadiths were
can't
written
answer a question.
down? Do you know when the earliest of the hadiths?
You
Maybe you
can't.
don't know.
No, but you can't answer a question.
Do you know when the earliest
No,
of
but,
hadiths were
but
written
you
down?
cannot answer a simple question.
Do you know when the earliest
My
of hadiths
question is
were written
simple.
down?
My question is that do Muslims believe in their deeds? That's
I
the
don't
question.
care. Do you know when the earliest of hadiths
If you
were
don't
written
get,
down?
then don't discuss Islam.
care.
Then don't discuss Islam. Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Good to see you. Good to see you. God's blessing. Lovely seeing you.
You never
But
come to
you
the
should be.
No, you should not
Intelligence.
discuss Islam
Intelligence
if you
is
don't
very
care
That's
whether
what
they
he does.
believe what they believe in.
So my dear friends.
Approach Muslims. That's what he does.